I recorded about 20 minutes of video without turning the microphone on, and that's a little bit painful, so I'm going to redo this. So what you're seeing is take 2. Enjoy. I clearly have some incorrect programming in my life which is holding me back. I clearly have a mismatch in value in my conscious mind and subconscious mind. I clearly don't have an accurate assessment of my capabilities in my subconscious. I know that I'm not taking authority in certain areas of my life, and I'm still abdicating that onto other people, and it's something that I know I need to work on. And I hope that as I go, as I make decisions and see good results, that I can handle myself, that I can handle the outcomes, that I can handle the consequences of my actions, that I can slowly program my subconscious to realize that I'm capable of dealing with those outcomes, that I'm capable of dealing with a scary world and capable of navigating that scary world, that I'm capable of making my way in the world, that I'm capable of looking after myself, fending for myself, feeding myself, providing for myself, providing for a family, providing for kids. And on reflection, I can see that that's beginning to happen. I recently started at a job, and I saw that I negotiated my pay in a way that I hadn't done before. Previously, I would have said, this is what I want to earn. And when they came back with a lower offer, and previously I would have just accepted that lower offer because the fear of not having a job would have been too much for me. I would have had quite an emotional and anxious response to that. I had negotiated in the past for this particular role that I'm starting at, and this week we started finalizing some things in terms of the contract and setting out an hourly rate. And the hourly rate that they came to me with was not what I felt we had agreed on in the past. Ordinarily, this would have completely stumped me. This would have had me almost at the point of vomiting from fear and anxiety. And I wouldn't have been able to rest until I had dealt with this. And I would have probably sold myself short. But this week, when this happened, it was all done by text message. And so I very casually just replied to the text message, no, that's not what we worked out. I've done the maths. This is what the hourly rate needs to be in order to meet my requirements. And rather than sit and worry by the phone while they came back to me, I didn't get a response until the very next day. I didn't get a reply to that. I think it was 10 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get a reply until 8 o'clock, I think, the next morning. And normally that would have worried me. I would have been fretting. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. I would have been on edge the whole day. But in this instance, I wasn't. I wasn't scared. I didn't even think about it. And I came to realize that that's because I'm totally comfortable with walking away from that particular job. I'm totally comfortable with, even if I don't get that job, even if things don't work out, that I am capable of finding another job if I need one. I don't have a huge amount of debt or anything like that. I've got money in the bank. And so I'm quite comfortable in my position at the moment to not have a job. And I actually joked about it before when people asked me what I'm doing. I was like, well, what I want to do for a job. Well, I prefer not to work, actually. And that came out of a place of being free from needing to work. I'm not saying I'm rich, but I've got some savings in the bank, and so I know that I need to start putting money back into savings. But the anxiety was missing because I know that I can manage. If they came back to me and said, no, that rate is too much, I know that I can go and get another job. Even if it's a minimum wage job, that would be enough. That would be plenty. So I was happy to walk away and just let things be and just be secure that I could figure it out. I could handle myself. And I think that part of that is knowing that God will do his part. I have to do my part. I have to do what I can do. I have to put in the effort. I have to make the right decisions. But I know that I'm only responsible for myself, and things that happen to me, they're out of my control, so why bother? And I have a trust in God, that God will manage those for me, and that He has good plans for me and good things in store for me. So why should I worry about that? Getting that from the head to the heart is a real struggle. It's a real journey. And I think as we go through situations where we get to prove to our subconscious that we are capable of managing consequences, we are capable of providing for ourselves if things don't work out, we are capable of dealing with a scary world, our subconscious relaxes. Our subconscious maybe doesn't give you that emotional response that you used to get before. And so it doesn't need to be anxious. It knows you've got it under control. I want to end on a story, a true story. I have this friend who moved here from South Africa a little while back, and he was looking for work. And he related to me how he got his current job. He applied for a whole lot of roles, and he had this recruiter phone him back to tell him that he wasn't going to be interviewed for a particular role because they didn't think he had the experience or the necessary skills to do the job. What he said to that recruiter on the phone, when he related to me, it absolutely blew my mind. It was completely unthinkable that someone could say that and get away with it, that someone would have the level of confidence in themselves to argue on their behalf. So the recruiter was busy telling him, we don't think you have the experience, we don't think you can do the job, and thank you for applying, but thank you, but no thank you. And he said on the phone to the guy, he said, hold on, wait. I don't agree with that. Let me explain to you why. And he managed to convince that recruiter why he could do the job. The job was for a recruitment job for a really well-established and one of the top-tier recruitment companies in the country. And so he almost got to beat a recruiter at his own game to get a job as a recruiter. And so he proved to that recruiter that he could do the job by selling himself. He didn't just accept that the recruiter thought he couldn't do the job. He didn't just accept that. He took authority over that situation. He didn't take authority over the recruiter. He took authority over himself and his ability to fight and negotiate on his behalf. And so in that phone call, he then got to negotiate. He then got to convince that recruiter that he could do the job. And now he's got that job as a recruiter. I think that shows a level of confidence in oneself that is absolutely mind-blowing. Like, when I first heard about that, it completely changed how I thought the world worked. It made me realize that level of confidence was something that I was lacking and that I needed. And it was one of the things that started me on this journey. It was one of the things that started me looking at the subconscious and what we believe about ourselves and how that affects our interactions and how that affects what we go after in life. I think it's so important that we can begin to have an accurate assessment of our capabilities. Obviously, we don't want to be the narcissist who thinks that we can do anything and everything and we just lie to people and lie to ourselves about what we can achieve. I think that there's a balance, because the opposite is true too. We can also be completely insecure in ourselves and not give ourselves credit for what we can achieve. And I think that's important, to make an accurate assessment of your abilities, an accurate assessment of your value, an accurate assessment of your wherewithal in the world, of your ability to manage the consequences of your everyday life, of the ability to manage consequences of your everyday decisions, and the fallout for things that might go wrong at times. I still want to talk more about authority and how God gives us authority, and I want to talk about that in my next video. But for now, I'd love you to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and please share this with your friends. I know they can get something out of this. I know that if you go back and watch all my other videos, you will get something out of this too, if this is your first time watching. For now, I'm going to say goodbye, but I'll see you again soon. Cheers.